The shut-in. She lives a prisoner within the four bare walls of her poor room. In the bright world she walks no more, yet cheerfully accepts her doom, and holds that life is very sweet, as eagerly she looks and sees the golden sunlight daily creep into her room, and with it weaves fantastic dreams of rosy hue, delightful things in which she sees the sparkling earth bedecked with dew, green hills and vales and stately trees. She lives a prisoner, and yet she gets more out of life than we, who walk bowed down with care and fret for things we are too blind to see. Welcome back, my poets, to Poetry 101, Semester 2, Video 14, I think? Don't quote me on that. We will be talking about setting a scene, which is just laying down the vibes, if you will, for what a poem means. So, some poems are very good at this, and some poems just kind of throw you in. Sometimes it's more about interpretation than it is about getting down the specific vibe. But if you're writing something like a poem about the winter or a poem about the fall, it's very important to set the scene of, hey, this is winter. Hey, this is fall. So you might start with some basics. Okay, the leaves were dying, or there's no leaves on the trees. There's snow on the ground. Or it smells like apples and pumpkin spice or something. The general vibe, setting the scene to set where we are starting. With the shut-in, we are given almost asylum-like imagery as we see that this woman is a prisoner stuck in her room with white walls. Now, white walls are typically associated with asylums and people who are losing it, but as we continue to read, the things that are projected at us that we are told, okay, sunlight, dappling, glittering, these kind of words are words that we don't really associate with asylum. Notice how this poem kind of switches what we think as we start here and then end up here. We end up with a word given to us that says prison, but when we get to the end, they're like, yeah, it's a prison, but it's more like a haven where like you're by yourself and everything's nice and it's pretty outside. She's got a nice view. She's happy. She's okay. That is the power of the imagery, which we have learned about in a different video, but specifically for setting the scene. Because this poem is not about, oh, she's in a white room, but that is where the scene has been set. And our focus then shifts with the rest of the poem, showing us, okay, and here we are with everything else. Here's how it is outside of the room, which shows you how she feels inside of the room. That is another example of setting the scene. So think of it this way. We have two scenes in this poem, and take this as you will for whatever poem you end up writing. We have the room, and because the white walls, I am assuming asylum, even though that's not what it is. It is probably just like her bedroom, and she's not a decorating girly. That's okay. It is just her in the room. So you're thinking lonely, despairing almost, not somewhere you want to be. But through that room, you see into location 2, setting 2, which is what she is looking out at. So we have this imagery of, okay, sunshine, joy, happiness, sunshine is mentioned. And you kind of start to shift your focus just because you have shifted where the set scene is. So the importance of a scene in a poem, what is it thinking? What is it showing us versus telling us? Because again, white walls is an imagery of sad, but we're not sad. So how are you using your setting to your advantage? Example, okay, it is fall outside. This is a time for change. It is easy to look at something like fall and write a poem about change. Oh, look, the leaves are dying and the trees are dying. I wonder if the trees are sad because they're dying. But I wonder if they're excited because they know that in the spring they get to grow again. You could write a poem like that. That's easy because the fall is when things die and then the spring is when things come back. It's easy to write a poem about being sad or barren when it's winter because the trees have no leaves and it's cold outside. Same thing with summer. There's typically more life. You typically have more free time. It's easy to be, oh, happy in the summer. How are you using it to your advantage, or how are you using it to then switch it up? What about summer is barren? Is there something there that you could say, okay, the summer is full of heat and life, but I am stagnant? Is the scene telling us one thing, but your character is telling us something else? Those are your thoughts to take away as you write your poem. If you do end up writing a poem, you can send it to me at @officialjustinstrikes on Instagram. I am a writer. I write poetry. I post my poetry there. I post some of it here on my YouTube channel as well. You can watch more videos here. You can subscribe over here, and you can just go away if you don't like this video anymore because it's over.